Doing you. All right.
Here we go. Good evening, and welcome to the New Hope FTC Life Discussion Podcast.
Welcome.
Steph, it looks like I'm not the only one that's hot. All right, tonight, we are discussing the PK perspective. And some of you might be asking, what is PK? PKs are the preacher kids or the pastor kids. And for so long, for centuries, I'm gonna say, we've always heard that PKs are the worst or PKs do it the best when it comes to non-churchy stuff, as you would call it. But tonight, we got these PKs on so they can give you their perspective. And we're going to ask a couple of questions about how do they feel about being called PKs? How do they feel about that phrase, PKs are the worst? And I wanted to say children because we don't have any little kids on here. We got adults, but they are still the children of the preacher. And there's a lot of stuff that we couldn't say as little kids. Now you grown, Robert Jr., you can say it. Steph, you grown, come snatch you up. You know, you might have wanted to say something that was like, can't say that because my parents might get me. And Jaquan just getting there. He ain't grown. He 19, so he kind of grown. So he's right there at that age where, you know, I want to say and do what I want because I'm getting grown, but I'm not really grown. So we have every generation represented pretty much. We got a teenager, somebody in their 20s. Victoria is going to join us, who's in her 30s, and Pookie is the 30 plus. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to say Robert, but forgive me if I say Pookie.
You're all good.
I'm also included into the PK. I don't know, say fortunately or unfortunately, because I don't know if any of y'all dad was as hard as my uncle dad. I'm just saying. He put me on blast plenty of times. And then after he put me on blast, he be like, "You mad at me now?" I'm like, "You want the truth or a lie?"
Right.
I can't tell you the truth because then you gonna cuss it.
Oh God, not the bishop. The bishop wasn't cussing.
Listen, well, me and him one-on-one, he wasn't the bishop no more. It was Unc Dad.
All right, so let's go around the room, and as you all know, during our life discussions, we sitting back in our living room, and this is just family talking. So go ahead, family, let's talk. Robert, you want to go first?
Yeah, let the old heads go first. Yeah.
What are we doing? Just introducing ourselves? Or?
Yes.
Introduce yourself. Tell us, what church you grew up at.
Yeah.
Who your parents was. We're gonna go around. Stephanie,
she getting on. She coming.
Showing up in a few minutes, and everybody can, just give a brief snippet of who they are, where they come from, who their parents was, and once we get everybody a chance to tell their part, then we're gonna go into the question section.
Gotcha. Well, my name is Taylor Sr. My parents were Robert Taylor Sr. and Linda. The church that I grew up in was Fellowship Tabernacle.
FTC forever.
I can't die.
Yes.
My name is. Oh, go ahead.
Stephanie, go ahead, Steph.
Well, my name is Stephanie Caldwell Blake, but Stephanie Caldwell. My parents, they're Dr. James Caldwell and Elder Stacy Caldwell. And the church that I come from, Restoration Christian Center Ministries. But right now we're called Harvest Life Worship Center.
You spent a little time somewhere else too, didn't you?
And the tabernacle.
Well, my name is Jaquan Scott. My parents are Stacy K-Son, Harry K-Son. You know, I came from the FTC, but you know, now I'm currently located in New Hope.
New Hope.
New Hope.
Yay. All right, we have another guest. She's going to jump on in a moment. All right, so let's get started. Y'all ready to get started?
Let's go.
Y'all got to forgive me. Mama having hot flashes.
I understand.
Let's start with that first phrase. When you hear people say pre-Ks are the worst, what do you say? Yes, no, maybe so? Let's start it different this time with Jaquan. Are pre-Ks the worst? And listen, and be honest. You're not going to get in trouble for nothing that you say. I promise you.
I won't be upset with you this time.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're the worst, because I know I'm not the worst. So, you know, it's just like we just know what to do and what not to do. You know, it's just our decisions to do what's right or do whatever we want. You know, that's just how I feel about it. Like we already know what it's supposed to do, how we supposed to do it. It's just if we're gonna follow it.
Okay. And does that make a difference if you're a preacher kid that you're going to do? You know, you said you know what you're supposed to do and you're going to do what you want to do.
You said, does it make a difference?
Yes.
I say it don't. We just reminded. We're like, it's put in our face like so much because you know our parents are the preachers, so that's basically what all they talk about. So you know, it's just in our face so much. So not as like a regular person, they don't have that like that pressure on them. I would say, I guess.
Okay, Stephanie, are the PKs the worst? And you got siblings, so you can talk from the big sister perspective as well.
Right. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to have to say yes and no. Now, why do I say no first? Is because you have to really think about your parents, because how you were brought up, that's how you're going to reflect. Because really, you're reflecting your parents when you're going out, you know, with them. So it's like, okay, we going to revival, going to this is an ordinary service. You know, you want to act like how your parents will want you to act. And then yes, at times I've heard people say, "Oh, the guy's the worst, or the girl's the worst," and I just be like, "Dang, you trying to put us women out there like how we the worst?" You know, but it's just like, you know, yeah. I mean, yeah, my aspect, yes, you know, because you want to be like everybody else. You want to fit in. And a lot of times we as preachers' kids, we have to understand that we can't be like everybody else because of the fact that of our depending on who our parents were, we have to really look at, okay, what our parents want us sleeping around, what our parents want us drinking, what our parents want us smoking, whatever it is out in the world, what our parents want it. And, you know, so that's why I would say that, you know, it just really depends on who your parents are. And then you have to also think about how people gonna look at you as well, because you, like I said, you reflect in them. And then they're gonna be like, oh, why your daughter going out to the club, or why your son sleeping around with this woman in the church? They're gonna go to the parent and be like, what's going on? So yeah, in my perspective on that, yeah.
All right, our last guest has joined us. I can't talk. Victoria Stowey Smith. That's my baby sister, y'all. Listen. Stephanie is my goddaughter. Jaquan is my son. Big Bob is my brother. And Vicky is my baby sister. So this is
It's
truly a family affair.
Yes.
And we sitting back in the living room chit-chatting, and we just letting the rest of y'all join in.
That's right.
So Victoria, before you go, we're going to let Robert give his answer.
It was about to come out.
I know, you see, I was struggling. We're going to let him give his answer. Then we're going to allow you to introduce yourself and you answer the question. PKs are the worst. Do you agree or disagree?
Hey, by the way, if y'all on Facebook, please like and share on your personal pages with all your friends and associates and loved ones.
All right, Robert.
That is a loaded question. I would say, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I would agree that growing up, especially early on, I was always cognizant of who I was, who my father was, all those things. So I tried to, be the best person I could be. And that was just how I was raised. So, I mean, it wasn't like a thing where I just felt like I had to wild out or just act crazy. Now, as I got older, and then I started to basically do my thing and have my own ideas and things. It was a thing where, and if anybody knows me, since from a young age, I was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like I didn't just follow what church people said or person did or that person. I was always my person, so I just always followed my own path. But I still always had that in the back of my mind of, where my stock is from, my parents were, and plus just the teachings and just loving God and the best person. But like I said, that was early on. I mean, I didn't do anything. I was just
I remember it. We used to call you the sanctified snitch. Like, don't do nothing in front of Pookie.
I do remember that.
Oh, it's definitely snitches in the church growing up.
Yo, I remember that.
He gonna tell, don't do it.
But yeah, but I would say, as you get older, you kind of get your own mind. I think, as far as my dad, as I became like a teenager, I think he didn't want like me and Kev to like wild out. So he allowed us to do some things, gave us some rope. He didn't want us to just like go out. So I think that really helped, because I think if that rope was really tight, yeah, I would have wilded all the way out. So yeah, I would say sometimes yes, sometimes no. And it is a thing where if you're raised in a church as a preacher's kid, at some point in time, you're like, you know what, I don't want to be a preacher's kid, or I don't want to be, labeled at that. So, you do want to venture out and just kind of wild out a little bit. So.
Right, you don't want to be well, I know for me, I ain't want to be the church girl. I used to get mad at school when they be like, you don't know nothing, you're a church girl.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, Victoria, we would like for you to introduce yourself, who your parent, the preacher is, and then answer the question.
What church you came up at?
You on mute. Wait, she going in already. Look at her, she on 10. You gotta come off of mute.
So I get to rep the church I want to rep? Because I'm out to be petty, okay? Original Teller Made, okay? Born on Cumberland Street, period. I don't know about these new Teller Maids after Broad Street. God bless you. Okay? I'm an original. Like the KFC chicken recipe, I'm the original.
Like born at the church.
Look, I'm like the FTC baby, like the last of the Mohicans of the original FTC baby. I am Victoria Stowe Smith. A lot of people know me as Lil Vicky or Victoria Johnson. I am married. Ooh, y'all.
I was married now.
Married now. My mother, Pastor Barbara Fields, is what I grew under. I came from a long line of preachers, ministers.
All right, now answer the loaded question.
Hey, don't forget about Pastor Hill.
Oh yeah, I did come from Pastel Cumberland Street where the devil was my daddy and he couldn't use me. But I stayed in trouble, man. But I got some of my
52nd
best,
Street.
my best teaching from 52nd Street and from FTC, definitely. So what was this loaded question again?
Wait, let me tell y'all how the preacher kids act. Now we in here doing a podcast about preacher kids, and Shaheem going to sneak out the back door. I just seen him walk past. You should be in his car. He going to sneak out the back door. Really?
Got the app now.
Oh wow.
360 people. If y'all ain't got it, go get it.
Yes, Life 360. It save you.
Help you keep an eye on your kids. That's a good word for you, Stephanie.
That's stalker parent.
And your husband and your wives.
Mhm.
All right, come on, Vic. The loaded question. Are PKs the worst?
No, we don't like y'all. I think I can speak. Every preacher kid on here smile because it's the fact, right? And it's not
You
that
don't
we
like
don't
who?
like the
Wait.
people. It's the fact that we don't like the pedestal that they put us on. We're not the worst. We're magnified. So the things you magnify, our parents, y'all glorify. So you look at them as they graduated from, Jesus' footstool down at the cross. And then you think that we graduated from, at the Tomb Middle School and high school. And that's something that we didn't graduate from. And, we're not the worst. We're just magnified in who we are. So if we got a little spunky personality, we come off as rude or, because we don't want to talk to the members, or we get an attitude because you keep coming to our parent with the same problem.
She talking right.
Right?
It's nothing personal. We're tired of my mom praying for you,
Yes.
or our dad's praying for you, and you go back to the same set. So we're not the worst ones. We actually bear the burden that we never asked for.
Yeah.
We actually, when our parents become pastors, we actually get the cross that we were never asked to be crucified on, because when they say yes to ministry, we get the magnifying glass over our lives. We didn't say yes, they did. We're not the worst.
That's facts, Mickey.
Wait, who said facts?
I like that answer.
Look.
I like your answer. That was all facts.
I like to talk to the youngest one on here because I know his experience is probably more fresher than some of the rest of y'all. Jaquan, like what type of pressure do you feel with being the oldest out of all the kids, with your parents being preachers and pastors?
Ooh. Yeah, and why are you thinking about your answer? I think
Unmute yourself.
we did a good job. Well, nobody never came to me and said, hey, your child did this, your child did that.
Everybody always give them compliments.
Yeah, I heard Gary say.
I just wish we can get them compliments in the house.
See my kids.
Because I know, even though everybody know Bishop Robert M. Taylor Sr. is my daddy. He is my daddy. We got the same blood, Big Bob. And
Bob's big boy is always right.
That's what I'm saying. When people would go and tell on me, like they couldn't tell nothing new because he already knew all the stuff, like, ooh, Stacy was cussing. He already know. Stacy, was out back fighting. He already know. Like it wasn't really nothing you could tell on me, but I never had nobody come and be like, yo, your kid. Well, Quan do throw kickbacks. The preacher kid throw the best kickbacks. But other than that, I really had nobody come and tell on him.
Okay, Quan, go ahead, Quan.
I mean, I just feel like I just got like it's just pressure for me to be a good example for my younger siblings, But I always know like I'm not perfect and I'm gonna mess up. So it's never really me feeling like I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. It's just me feeling like I just got to be the best example I could be for my younger siblings. If I mess up, I just got to do what I'm supposed to do or do what I can do to fix that situation. And I got to keep moving on. So it's never really pressure, but it's just like people watching. So it's just like,
always.
I want to do my best.
Yes.
I say that same question to the rest of you all.
We got a comment from Chris Destin is he from Dallas or Houston? From Houston, Texas. And he said, preacher kids are not the worst. It's just more expected from us because our parents are in the center. I needed Jesus just like the rest of the people, like the rest of the kids in church. So what happening is now live in bond. Whoa, he said the kids living in a bondage. We get the church. We completely out. Wow. All right, Chris. So K-Town was going to ask a question and Victoria led us into that. How do you tell people, or how do you say, I'm not the pastor, I'm the pastor's son? You know, I'm not Bishop Teller, I'm Bishop Teller's daughter. So
how do you deal with that pressure of, you know?
Or you did when you was younger?
Yeah.
Because, you know, now you grown. Pook, I know you could sound whatever, you know, but in your
younger years.
How would you tell people that?
I think I was just stubborn from a young age. Like,
and people ain't mess with you too much.
No, like, I was just stubborn. So because I did always think about that, you know, you want to kind of represent your parent or your parent that's a pastor, but at the end of the day, like Vicky said, I didn't choose that, you did. So, you know, so I never really had to, like, I don't think tell anybody that. I think maybe I just gave off that aura that, you know, I never really had to deal that. I can remember. I don't remember. Now, you know, back in the day, we did have like a little, it was like, we practiced on our reading skills, we called it. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody come out of pocket. Like,
I'm about to read them. I'm about to read them. Let them say something.
Right, say something, right. But you know, I think I just always just wanted to be myself, and I just kind of looked at it that way. So I didn't put too much pressure on myself to, like, you know, I didn't listen to what people were saying. I didn't really hear, you know, things that much. So I just kind of just did my own thing. But I always knew that, you know, people were watching, and, you know, people were looking to see if I'm, you know, messed up or did anything, you know, because of, you know, who my dad was, things of that nature. So
okay.
It was, I'm just gonna piggyback off of Uncle Rob. It was a lot. It was not that much pressure, but me being the big sister, you know, I really had to protect my little siblings because there were times where my parents had to do, you know, church business, and I had to make sure that they was okay. So yeah, I had an incident one time where, you know, a guy was really trying to get up on my brother. I'm like, not on this friend. I really had to like do this almost. I was like, no, you got the wrong one, boo. But it's like it was a lot of pressure though, because it's like, you know, my dad, our lineage, like you know, Vicky, I can piggyback off of you. Like, you know, I got a whole bunch of preachers in my family, and my father is the third generation preacher. So it's like people, you know, always wanted him to come to a revival or preach it or go to service, preach it. So we was everywhere with him. And then there were times where we had school, so we couldn't be everywhere with him at the time. But I would say it was a lot, because then, like, you know, Uncle Rob was saying, people are watching you know, and it was one time somebody told my parents that I had a potty mouth. I was like, okay, did you hear me say a cuss word then? Are you lying on me? Because I honestly, I don't know if I was cussing at the time. Like, I was little. So how
do lie. Church people.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of stuff I did and some stuff I didn't do. And I'm like, no, they didn't lie. And I would get in trouble. And my feelings would really be hurt. Like,
right.
Oh, people lying on me.
Yo, there's a lot of old.
I did the other thing, but I didn't do that one.
I didn't get in trouble for what I did. I got in trouble for what I did.
What I didn't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
now y'all know I cuss and fight. I don't steal. Y'all know I ain't steal nobody money.
Right.
Why is she lying?
But why am I getting in trouble for it? Mom, you know me better.
Exactly.
Right.
She didn't even have $10 for me to steal. Why are they lying?
because, you know, back in the day, everybody always felt like the adults was right and kids was wrong.
Yeah, made me
And it
apologize.
just- yeah, and it's just like pretty much
Hey, that's what
it
I'm
didn't even
saying.
matter what you said because your thoughts don't even matter, you know, because how dare why would an adult lie on a child?
Right.
What? Now listen, I was a cusser, I was a liar, I was a stealer, I did all of the demands.
Did all that.
I was all of them. That's why, you know, sometimes when my kids do stuff, I just laugh because I'm like, they just doing everything I did. God give me back. So I understand. So, you know, when I catch Jaquan doing stuff, you know, sometimes I be wanting to snap on him, but I can't because I'm like, you know, he's just doing what I did.
That get back.
Yeah.
So moving on, did y'all feel like, I know Jaquan is in that process, but how hard was it for y'all to feel like y'all could live without the lights being on you?
The lights probably still shining.
Hard. Because
It's not hard. For me, I have a different type of personality. A lot of people can attest. Like Big Brother Rob, you know, I knocked on that office and be like, excuse me, I need to talk to the bishop. I'm like, because
that's when they wasn't bringing you to the bishop. Like, Vicky, we taking you down the hall.
Yeah, like it would get to the point, like, because it was like, I don't want to say I felt like I was above reproach. Like, who are you? Like, you're a regular member trying to be known. Like, you're extra and you're doing the most to be known. And guess what? My parents don't care. Like, you know, growing up at in FTC, I was one of like the babies, like, but I was the spoiled baby. So like I called the bishop dad, like, and I had a mom. I had two moms, but I would go to one mom when I was in trouble, and that was my mom. You understand? Like my mom that was it. Like what happened? What I do? I ain't do nothing. And then I had like uncles and stuff in the church, like
80 deep.
Like 80 deep. Like I'll never forget the incident. I think it was their anniversary service, and that guy Brian hit me. No, Nick, the deacon popped me. Uncle Ron, Uncle Scott, the whole security team with them bedazzled hoodies. And I came upstairs. I was like, I'm telling Bishop. They said, no, we got it.
Top flight security.
Like I don't like, for me, I really always had that personality. Like I care, but I didn't care, because at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not gonna allow you to stop me from living. I'm not gonna allow you to place, limitations on who I am. We have personalities. We were born with personalities. Our parents have personalities, whether they want to believe it or not. Like a lot of times they characterize them as holy, and then when they snap out or say something crazy, they be like, oh, like, where did this come from? They were born human. Yeah, a lot of people are just like, a lot of times often they forget that part. Like we have personalities, whether you suppress it or we show it to you. Like me, I cared about people's feelings, but it like younger, I really didn't care. Now that I'm older, I kind of give a little more leniency, but younger, I didn't care. Like,
talking about shining a light, and like I couldn't go nowhere. I look just like my pop, so like piss me off. I go somewhere. You been telling something? I'm like, yo, like, are you serious? Like, I can't go nowhere. So I was really cognizant of what I did out, because I'm like, man, I can't go anywhere without somebody just not even knowing me and saying, "Are you Bishop Taylor's son?" And I'm like, yes, yeah. I am.
Right, dare not be at a club or a kickback, and they be like, "We see Bishop Taylor at the club."
Wow, I was at the strip club. I was at a strip club, and it was a deacon from another church, and was like, "Ain't you make me a boy?" And I'm like, "Don't you go to such and such church?" Like, we both in here, right?
Exactly. Yep. Oh, that happened to me.
Listen,
a couple times.
You go get yours, like, and I'm gonna go get mine.
Right. Like you here, right here, jamming with me. So, yep, we in here. So, but yeah, I mean, hey, it did work in a positive light. sometimes. So that did work. One time I never forget, like I was in court and a cop gave me a ticket for going past a stop sign. So I'm in the like I rarely ever go to court. So I'm sitting in there like, man, I can't believe I'm sitting here, all these people. And he like snapping on people. Just like, all right, next. I'm like, oh man, this dude gonna get me. So then I go up and he looked at me. He was like, are you Bishop Taylor's son? I said, I'll be done.
The judge said that?
The judge said that, yes.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He sure is. And he said something. He's like, all right, I'm gonna give you a warning today. You go ahead. You have a nice. I said, finally that joint worked out for a price. Yo,
Finally worked.
that was
PK.
that was
I
crazy.
ain't walked out with a sign. Preacher sign right here.
Yo, I was like, yes, like it worked out for me. So yeah, it has its negatives, but it has its positives as well, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, like I get what Vicky's saying. You know, we all have personalities, and not to forget it. But you know, it was hard for me and my perspective because I do look like my father and my mother. But people literally always asking, "You go to James Caldwell daughter, ain't you?" Yeah, I am. But it's just like, I mean, I was just like, you know, condescending about what I would be doing while I'm in the presence of my parents, because like we've been saying, people gonna watch you and they gonna tell your mom and your dad, oh, she did this or he did that. So I was very cautious about what I did, what I said, because there was always somebody being a snitch on my parents talking about, oh, she said this, or she did this. I'm like, really? Like I said, you lying to me? So, but yeah, it was hard, but growing up, it did ease up a little bit, on that, because I really had to understand I'm not my father, I'm myself. And being like, I'm a preacher as well. So like I said, I come from preachers, but I'm also not just a preacher's kid, but I'm a preacher myself. So it's also hard for me as well as a double standard now. But it's like at the end of the day, yeah, when you literally always around your parents, people want to make sure that they look at you and be like, okay, what's she gonna do? They always wonder and be trying to be nosy.
So all right, both of y'all or all of y'all pretty much gave examples of how it is good and bad. Do you think as children, not grown-ups, but as kids, did people let you slide because you the preacher kid? You was able to talk in Sunday school and they ain't say nothing? Or were you singled out, like, stop talking, don't do this, don't do that? Or chastise you? Did anybody try to beat you? That's a good one. Anybody try to spank you because you the pastor kid? Oh, the pastor kid chewing bubble gum, so I'm going to pop him. No.
I was spoiled. I was cute and adorable and sweet. So they I don't think people really got on me too much. I kind of wore people's
slide.
Yeah, so I think I slid with a lot of stuff, but you had the Richard kids and my pop, like nobody had to tell on us. You know how many times we got caught like talking and had to go to the front and sit on the altar and look at everybody? You already know.
The worst.
Yo, I can't even count how many times that happened.
So, like they used to call my name and I just start walking, like, because I know what they about to say. Like, oh, I ain't in trouble this time. My bad.
Oh, look at that. All those people just facing them too. I'm like, wow, this is really embarrassing.
But hey, the people you cool with is the ones that make it worse because they pointing like, look.
Exactly. They would laugh, but a lot of times they got caught with us and we all would sit there.
Like, I ain't gonna cry. I ain't gonna cry. I would hit Monique like, you better not cry. I ain't gonna cry.
So, I mean, like, while we into this subject, I want to talk about peer pressure as being a PK. Like, I want to start with Jaquan, talking about peer pressure. Like, how is it dealing with not just the kids in the church, but even the kids outside of the church? Like, what is that peer pressure like?
Do they invite you to the parties because you the preacher kid?
Do they ask you to drink? Do they ask you to smoke? They ask you to kickbacks? They ask you,
He probably the one that said it all.
Don't answer the question. This is incriminating information. They just asked you the rundown, bruh. Look at my eyes. I'm trying to tell you, don't answer. Just say, I'm a child of God.
Like people that know, like I'm a preacher kid and stuff like that, they just expect me to do what's right and do what's good, you know. I might fall for some temptations time to time, but you know, that's just me. It wasn't no peer pressure from my parents or anything like that. They just expect me to always like be there for them, you know, come through, be the good person in the situation, you know. And that's why I try to be.
I'm saying, is it a hard thing at the moment? You know, when everybody, you know,
like
right now?
Like right now, you're in Orlando, Florida, with your friends. Is anybody saying the church boy ain't going to the? Well, you ain't old enough to go to the club, so I hope you're not. But
he is old enough.
I'll be old enough.
Not 19.
He's not old enough to drink. He's old enough to party, but not to drink.
You can go at 19.
At 18,
they got some 18-year-old clubs.
You do anything at 19. Nah, it's not hard for me because you know I
Put your whole face in. I want to see your whole face. I gotta see your spirit.
It's not hard. It's not hard. You know, I hold other people to the same standards that I'm gonna hold up too. So, you know, like what I gotta do. I mean, I hang around people who save just like me. So, you know, we all really have the same standards. So it's not really just me being like a person who gotta fight the devil all day, you know, try not to do sins, because, you know, other people around me try not to commit sins and stuff like that. So, you know, we really just help each other. So it's really not hard for me.
Listen, I did all my dirt with the church people. I ain't hang out with people that wasn't church people.
Oh, yeah.
We did our dirt together. Kevin Morrison taught us, you gotta learn who to sin with. Listen.
It's a brother named Damian Caldwell that me and him promised each other that we're gonna go to the grave with the things we did together.
Wait, Bishop Tito Saunders laughing at us, Pookie. He talking about y'all had to sit on the altar. That's because you came when you was grown. You was in college.
You didn't even talk about the lemon heads rolling in the front of the church from the choir section. And that's when Bishop looked over and seen all the candy rolling on the floor.
He could see everything. Oh my God.
So to take on the question with everybody else, how did you handle the pressure, both from your friends in church and out of church?
I would say I pretty much handled mine because, you know, in church, I only had maybe about a few friends. And, you know, I could actually, you know, say, were my friends. And, you know, out in the world, I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do until I got to college. So, I mean, like, I didn't do no smoking. I did a little bit of drinking. But, you know, it really didn't hit me like that because I knew where I came from.
Right.
So, yeah, I think I handled it pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't pressure for me either. Just because I wasn't a follower. So I think, you know, when you're a follower, you're pressured to do stuff. So I just felt, you know, if I wanted to do it, I did it. But to be honest, I, you know, kind of went through my wilding out stage when I was grown, when I was older. So when I was younger, you know, I was pretty chill. I didn't really do too much. Never drank, never did anything. You know, I was just pretty chilled early on.
Snitch.
Like, right? Used to go to parties and stuff like that, but, you know, they were like, oh, you know, have drinks and stuff. And I never drank because I didn't want to. First of all, I went to high school in South Jersey. So they was on that beer and all that kegs and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't like beer.
No,
So when I got older and, you know, experienced liquor, then different story. But you know, it wasn't too much peer pressure for me. But I mean, I will say that I think with a lot of preachers' kids and just Christian kids in general, it is a lot of pressure because I think, like you were saying earlier, Stace, you don't want to be looked at as, oh, that's the church boy right there, it's the church girl, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You like, I'm not that corny, like, you know, it's like, you know, I think it is a lot of pressure to, you know, want to fit in, and I can do that too, whatever. So if you're not strong, if you're not, you know, that a leader, I mean, it is very easy to get pressured for sure.
And like you said, you're a leader, not a follower. And I know we were brought up to be leaders. You know,
I couldn't help it. That's how I was raised.
Yeah, it's just in you. Because I know they would call me church girl because I dress nice and I would wear skirts and stuff to school. And it wasn't until I got a little older, like, I'm getting mad about what? I am cute. I do wear fly clothes. Then when I got to high school, I started having my girl like, know what? Let's dress up tomorrow. I was the chick that wore high heels and lip gloss and be like, come on, y'all, let's dress up tomorrow. And they follow me. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Look at them like, no doubt.
That's a caught my eye.
and when I wanted to go to parties and stuff, I brought my people to the party with me. Like, come on, y'all, let's go to the party, you know? And then on Sunday, we be out all night Saturday, and Sunday morning, we got up. Come on, y'all, we going to church.
Prayer.
Right? And don't be late. We couldn't be late.
Hey, that's why I couldn't wait till I got older and I had my own place. And it went down in the DM.
I'm crying down in the DM. You had my space. Anyway.
You have my space.
You had my space.
Stupid.
Before there was a DM, there was a MySpace.
Wait, no, AOL. He had AOL.
Yeah, AOL. The little...
No, it was Black Planet.
For me, I didn't peer pressure. I was too much of a leader. Like, my sisters instilled leadership into me. Like, I don't even, like, as far as my godmom, my mom, my uncles and stuff, like, I grew up in my head thinking I was really a lifestyle, like a little gangster, right?
He's a boss baby.
A boss baby. Like, and my uncles moved as such, so I always felt like I was a leader and I had that leadership capabilities. And I think that's something that my family always molded into me. My uncles moved when I said move, like, I want to go to the store. Where you want to go? I need my bike fixed. Who gonna fix it? I'm hungry. Where you want to go? Like, my sisters, when it came to dressing, it was like, you don't dress like them. You don't act like them. And my sister Kelly be like, you can't play with them. They look dirty, right? So I was always made to be like that person that sore thumb. So growing up, like a peer pressure, like, if you're not doing what I'm doing, you on the wrong program, because what I'm doing, I know I'm gonna be safe and I'm not gonna get caught. What you doing might get us caught. So for me, I've always been like, you know, a leader. Like, even when I went to college, yes, I wilded out, but then I still found myself being like the president of the Christian ministry in my freshman year. It's like I had that perfect balance of, yes, I love God, but bro, I'm human. So that peer pressure factor, more people more so like, hey, how can you be a Christian, a pastor's kid, and still maintain a balanced life? Yeah. You don't really succumb to that peer pressure. You set your standard of where you're comfortable, and you either march to the beat of your own drum or you be miserable, because a lot of preachers' kids find themselves miserable because they had to settle for the standard of what a preacher kid is. And then you got these ones that then suffer with suicide, depression, and all these
lead
other
a church. Like, once they get grown, like, I'm out. I ain't never going to church. I don't like the
Yeah.
church. I don't like the church people.
That's real.
'Cause I ain't gonna say I lost, but sort of kind. I lost a lot of friends coming up in church, you know, because you know, I love my church, and I appreciate it more now than I think I did when I was younger. but it was a lot of people that just they couldn't handle the
standard.
standard, you know, and it was either you stick in there and you hang in there and you make it, or you be like, you know, peace, I'm out. I can't do it no more. You know, and I lost a lot of good friends, you know, like one day I looked up and I was just like,
where everybody at?
Like did everybody go to Bexar? Like, you know,
yeah, because
all the deacons at y'all left me.
Because we as Christians, not just as preachers or preacher children, as Christians, we put a lot of pressure on one another.
On the kids.
Oh, you ain't supposed to mess up. You ain't supposed to do this, that, and the third. I remember I got put on punishment at 16 because I didn't go to Sunday school. Like I spent the night in my aunt's house, and every Sunday we had to go to Sunday school. I ain't feel like getting up, so I didn't come. And my mom asked me about Sunday school, and I lied and was like, yeah, I was there. And of course, you know, they told her I wasn't. So she was like, you on punishment, and you got to go to Sunday school every Sunday until you 18. I don't care where you at on Saturday night, you got to be in Sunday school. So when I got grown, I was like, I ain't going to Sunday school. I hate Sunday school. I don't care what y'all say. I ain't going. When I moved to North Carolina, and deacon, no, he wasn't a deacon, Elder Darrell Miller was over the elders, or the minister alliance is what they called it. And he was like, you know, as a leader, everybody's supposed to come to Sunday school, and he giving out all these instructions, and I'm listening, but the Sunday school part went over my head. So he pulled me aside one Sunday and was like, listen, why you don't come to Sunday school? I was like, oh, I don't do Sunday school. And he was like, you have to, as an elder, you got to come to Sunday school. I was like, listen, I'm here for all the services and everything else. I just don't do Sunday school. And he was like, but you bishop tell a daughter and people watching, you got to be here. I was like, I ain't his real daughter and I ain't coming to Sunday school, you know? But I had to come back and apologize. And I had to share with him how I felt like that was abuse. You know what I mean? How you going to put me on lockdown and make me come to Sunday school? And thank God, I never experienced leaving the church, but I understand how people be like, yo, when I get 18, I got cousins and family members that they would start working on Sunday just so they ain't had to come to church.
That was me.
When they got grown, they started saying, oh, I'm a 5%er, so they wouldn't have to come to church. So what can we say to the congregation that's listening?
Listen, I'm going to tell y'all, I went and got a night job on purpose. So I wouldn't, I ain't had to go to the weeknight services. You know what I mean? And I worked on Saturday night, so I ain't go to Sunday school.
Going to the hellfire.
I got up in just enough time to make Sunday service. After I left Sunday service, I was out. You know what I mean? I was just like, I almost felt a little burnt out in church. You know what I mean?
Tickets up, you're going to hell. You put in your ticket tonight, okay?
You know what I mean? Monday through Friday, we was doing something.
In the words of Pastor Hill, God can't use you, I can't either. Go home.
You talking about abuse, Stace? Like we had 9 o'clock prayer, 9:30 Sunday school, 11 o'clock service, afternoon service, and then broadcast at 8.
No.
Go home like 11 o'clock. Like
no, and had to go to school. And had to go to school on Monday.
But you're missing. You forgot shut it. You forgot shut it without the
Vic, I'm not even talking. That's
no, because we would go
about the regular.
Stacy was a part of it, that we would be in church from Friday to Saturday, and then we go home and wash up and come back for Jesus at 9:30. Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh, wow. Please. We ain't even talking about that. That was just like, you talking about abuse. Yeah, we was in church like maybe 4 out of 7 days, maybe.
More than that. Sunday, Tuesday was something. I think we did prayer on Tuesday, Bible study on Wednesday, choir rehearsal on Thursday, Friday night service.
Shut in on Friday. Come out.
Youth meeting on
stuck
Saturday.
in there until Sunday morning.
7-day revivals like
at 11 o'clock. I mean, you
no,
the 40 day
joint.
2 hours later, you crazy.
We ate at church. We didn't leave.
No. You better
had them good wings. You had them good wings.
So he had breakfast.
Mother Taylor, them cats.
When they got in the kitchen making spaghetti.
What?
Sister Showell went. What was that lady? Mother Bridget would cut the fat off the chicken. Get off the kitchen. That's not how I clean my kitchen. Take that fat off of there.
My man, Joseph Hill that went to New Hope with me, he know what I mean. You know what I mean? We're going to church on Sunday.
He said
Sunday
3
school,
times on Sunday.
3 times. Sundays, 3 services plus Sunday school. You got Sunday school, you got morning service, you got afternoon service, you got evening service. You left your house at 9 o'clock in the morning. You get back to your house 2 o'clock in the morning.
Straight child abuse, yo. Straight child abuse, yo. Like child abuse.
That's why I can't go to a church longer than an hour and a half. If you're preaching,
What? Yo, Vicky, you ain't never lied, yo. Like afternoon service. I don't do afternoon services.
I did that growing up. I got enough afternoon mileage.
No. I don't do nobody afternoon service. I'm sorry. Yo, it's tough. I'm scarred.
Hey.
And that's one of the things that we told our kids, like when Bishop Teller gave us this assignment and came home and talked to the family and talked to the kids. And their thing was, are we going to be in church 24/7?
Every day.
And it was like, no, you still going to be able to go to the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. You can still play football, basketball, like all the stuff that they were, their extracurricular activities, we still allowed them to do. We allowed them to go to the mall and stuff because I didn't want to abuse them like they did me. Like, you was talking about that good food they had in the kitchen. My mom was the president of the Willing Workers. And on Saturdays, we had to clean the chicken.
Oh, wow.
Peel the potatoes and all of that. So when I got grown.
You was working on Saturday, too.
Listen.
You ain't want that food on Saturday.
When we got on Broad Street and they would be like, the choir had to help in the kitchen. How much money y'all want? I'll give y'all all my money. I do not do the kitchen. I was scarred as a child.
Listen, Rob, we had to be at the church Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning to do everything. I mean, to fix people's houses, wash people's cars, do painting, you know what I mean? Climbing on roofs.
You got to be blacklisted. That's what you're about to be. They're going to
make plans on Saturday.
Christian slavery.
Y'all was on another level with it. Y'all was on another level with it.
Wow. The most we would get is we would get a little lunch at 2 o'clock. They be like, all right, back to work.
Wait, but what was your lunch? What y'all have for lunch?
Probably a whole heap for the poppy store.
Rice.
Listen, look, they are the infamous chicken and French fry ministry. Right. Chicken and French fry ministry.
Chicken and French fries, no doubt.
It was so bad. Pastor Morrison, when he started pastoring, he was like, he don't even want a kitchen in his church. He was so tired of the kitchen. But listen, Joseph Hill said, just when you thought he was done, think again. Then y'all had family time.
Then we was downstairs in the basement of the church for another 2 hours.
Wait, the youth could only associate with the youth. And the youth was under supervision. Wow, and that's the thing that always blew my mind as a preacher's kid. I felt like I wasn't a regular child, right?
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah.
I don't want to say we're not, but we're really not, right? Because what the regular youth deal with, we don't deal with. We need to actually decompress from service.
Oh, my other son. You hear him? Come on, bruh. Say hi.
Yeah.
You see me?
Now that one right there, he do not plan to live the PK life.
Just watch.
He plan to live Shaheem like that's the kid that is independent. He on his own and he walked to his own drum.
And I don't have a problem with that because we came under such a strict and direct teaching that in order for us to live, you felt like we had to creep. You know what I mean? You had to dip out. You know what I mean? As Stacy said, you always kept somebody with you. That's what my man Dane. That was my boy. When I was ready to do something, I'm like, yo, Dane, I'm getting ready to do such. He's like, hold on, man, let me get dressed. And we be out. You know what I mean? We be hitting the streets. We get out of church and we get back home at 5. Like just enough time to wake up.
He gonna get you putting his business out. They will get you.
Oh, the way you about to not have any friends because you was
he came up under and see Joe Hill know. Joseph Hill know. You know what I mean? His father was one of the elders in the church, just like my uncle dad was the bishop, and it was just like, it was so strong. Like, you felt like you couldn't breathe, and then you look at the other kids in church and you like, they go home, they like, oh, we do this at home, we do that at home. And you like, dang. You know what I mean? I can't even stay up past 9.
Y'all watch cartoons? Friday, get home early enough to see Friday night videos at 11 o'clock.
For real. and you had to sneak and do that. You listen to rock and roll. This ain't rock and roll.
Oh man, yo, I remember early on, like, I had a rap tape. My dad was so strict when I was young. It was not even funny. This dude on the fridge, like, brah, just breaking tapes and stuff. Like, brah. I'm like, that's my Master Ace tape, bro. What you doing? Like, he used to kill me. He was so strict, boy. But
and I was a Tribe Called Quest fan, so they wasn't that deep. You know what I mean? So
the good rap music.
Yeah, the good rap music.
Oh yeah, no, I was there, the underground, like I was into that. But I mean, he didn't even listen to it. He didn't know what it was because he ain't listen to it. He just knew it wasn't gospel, so that thing was getting tracked.
It was that new gospel rap. It was that
ain't gonna be none of that in this house. You live under this roof. You ain't gonna be listening to that. All right. Mm-hmm. You right.
The kid used to get me like, I was like, he must have had a hookup with this Philadelphia school system because he knew the days off. He knew when breaks was coming. That's what he would always call meetings and prayer meetings. And now I remember I had tickets for the Bobby Brown concert. And it was a Friday night. The concert was on Saturday. We in church and he was like, hey, y'all listening to that devil music. You clap, your hands gonna fall off. You pat your feet gonna fall off. Had me all scared, like I don't want to die.
Listen.
Walking around like this, like
we all listen to.
And you waste my $28.
Ain't none compared to what my kids gotta listen to nowadays. I'm telling you, I try to listen to it sometimes just to know what they listening to. And I'm like, what is they saying?
I don't know. I don't listen to it. I still listen to oldies. Like my mom used to wake me up with WDAS 1480, that old lady with the dry throat. What's her name?
Louise Williams.
And Melodies
welcome to WDAS 1480.
We used to listen to that when it was time to clean. It was another man that was on the radio, Walter Stewart. When I got older, I promised myself if they still had a station, I was gonna put their radio station out of business. I got tired of hearing them all the time. So it was like, I felt like we never really had a life because it's like, if I wasn't with my sisters, all I heard was gospel.
Yeah.
Uno was the devil. We was going to hell for Uno. And Uno's, I learned how to play that in school.
Yeah.
Makeup was the devil. If you didn't wear stockings, you're going to hell. To this day, I do not wear stockings.
I refuse.
Because I was forced to wear them opaque stockings. Puff of smoke.
Yes.
I hated
it.
I hated it.
That's when I came to Statesville. I was like, y'all ain't got on pantyhose? They was like, we free. I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Stephanie, you caught the easy pop tail.
Yeah.
You caught the easy pop tail.
Man, and Stace, you mentioned Elder Kent, man, like that dude helped raise me. Like when you talk about like me growing up in the church and my dad, he like helped raise me. He taught me so many things, how to clean real good, how to, he was very strict. He was very strict, but so many good lessons. And that's the thing about being like a preacher's kid. Like you have all the things like being strict and all these other things, but it's so many good things that you grow up with that don't ever leave you. Like it's always, so you can't help but to be like a good person at the end of the day. All those things come out at the right time. So I can't talk about, preacher's kids and, and my dad and my mom growing up without talking about Apostle Richard Kent, man. He helped raise me and I appreciate him forever for that.
We talk to him often.
Is that really his voice, y'all? His voice, it sound like real deep like this.
Oh yeah. Oh, you wasn't in them prayer meetings?
Baby, I was a baby. Okay.
She was a baby. She
man.
missed out on
I
them
heard him
days.
talk at a funeral, right? I said, this gotta be it. This the gag is.
Yo,
Must be
he was
voice.
boy, he was spooky praying like that dude. Like I'll be up in that joint, like, all right, I'm gonna pray to my till I get saved up with this piece, yo. Cause
Fire
he
and
was
brimstone.
what?
Fire and
Like, you
brimstone.
thought the greatest dude ever. Like my dad too, but man, whew.
He has a very powerful deliverance ministry. In case I know, always like, well, we need to go down there. I was like, that's a whole nother, that's work. Deliverance ministry is work. And he don't come playing with no devils. And you don't even think you got a devil in. Woo, Jesus.
Listen, and you know, in spite of all the things that like we've been through, like I know we all can say, like, had we had not grown up
The way
under
we
those
did.
teachings,
Mhm.
like where would we be at today? You know what I mean? And you know, it taught us what we try to teach our kids is the fear of God and the respect of God that you don't want to go too far. And I love what I heard Jaquan say not too long ago that you know he know where to cut it off. You know, like he know like, all right, that right there is going to be too much. And that's because of how he's being raised and who raised him. You know, and you know,
I was around that time.
Stephanie, speak on it, Stephanie. You know, it just like
Yes, I was around for that time, so I know. My dad did not play. No.
I'm sorry, y'all. If I hear somebody in the background, it's my child.
Hunter, hey Hunter. That's right, Hunter. We're not gonna let them put that on you that preacher kids are a mess and bad. We are claiming generational blessings, no more generational curses. And we want to be respectful of you guys' time. So as we start to wind up, give us your thoughts on, or what would you say to a congregation like, hey, don't do this to the preacher kid. You know, what would your thoughts be? Or what would you tell the congregation to help them to help the children that go to their church?
Y'all want me to go last or y'all want me to go first?
You can go ahead. Just jump in the pot.
Mind your business.
Right.
Y'all business. I am 30 years old, right? And I'm saying this from a place of love, right? Mm-hmm. You make it more difficult for our parents to minister when you cloud them with drama, unnecessary drama. You make it hard for our parents to minister when they're policing childish behavior from adults. Love the pastor's children because they sacrifice just as much as their parents do.
they do.
And it's often a lot of PKs wind up finding another, I don't want to say like another parent. You know, typically our parents have friends they hang around, and you know, their friends wind up being our other parent because the membership kind of takes our parents away from us.
Yes.
Be very conscious. Like, we're not, you know, we love our parents, but we also need our parents just as much as you need them. Don't cause us unnecessary trauma because you're being selfish in your lifestyle with poor life decisions. Think of us as you would think of your own children. And if you don't think of your own children, think of, as those people that really need help. Don't be selfish. And the parents, the pastors.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, the pastors that are close to our parents, we want to say that we love you and we thank you, because when our parents couldn't be there, you were those that were there, that were able to love on us, to be that parent when, childish church members, sometimes they really needed help. Yeah. But for those who kind of took, away from us, we cherish the sound and the voice of those who our parents trusted and then that loved on us. So we thank those pastors' friends that love us like their own children. And church, just be mindful. They have a life, they have children. don't stop them from living to police your not spiritual situations, because a lot of the issues they come up to our parents with are not spiritual.
Right.
Are dumb life decisions. You don't want to pay your rent. Your baby dad keep beating you up, but you keep going back.
Example,
You know,
right.
you keep coming to the altar for the same thing. Like, listen, be tired and really be tired, because we may not say much, but we carry the weight of our parents because we watch it as a form of abuse. You're abusing our parent.
Yes.
You're hurting our parent. And in the long run, when we're watching you do this, we resent you in the long haul. Handle our parents with care and handle us with care. That's all.
Beautiful.
I want to piggyback off on her. I want to piggyback off what you said, Vic, because I've had that happen. And there were times where in long haul, I didn't really want to talk to some of the members that my dad had in his church because of how they treated them. And, you know, we're human just as much as our parents are human. You know, and it's like, don't try to make it seem like, you know, y'all putting us on the pedestal. No, we don't want to be on no pedestal. We're not God. We make mistakes just as everybody else. You know, so yeah, we may want to fit in, but you know, at the same time, we're the ones that set apart. We're the ones that separate. You know, so we can't do everything that y'all do. And then, you know, like you just said, Vic, you really said a mouthful. So I'm just saying a little bit, but just really being honest, like, yeah, like we're human just as y'all, but yeah, we have to share y'all, you know, with our parents. And we want to be able to have our parents as much as y'all need our parents. But yeah, don't be stingy with it.
First of all, I can't let this night go without talking about my other parent being raised in the church. You know, my mom, Linda. I think, you know, it's very difficult growing up in church, and your parent is sometimes it seems like your parents in the gospel, or the pastor loves the people in the church more than they love you or care about them more, and they give more time to them than they do you. And I just appreciate, you know, my mom in those times where, you know, I felt like some type of way of, you know, how much my dad was going and out and this and that. She always tried to, you know, make my brother and I feel like that we do matter, you know, pray for us all the time, taught me how to pray, you know, just kind of gave us that balance, you know, when I was little, growing up in the church. So it's difficult being a preacher's kid for sure, but just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate my mom and love her for
the best. She's
how
still the best. Oh my God.
helped raise me in the church. But to answer your question, I would just say, just love us and just be patient with us and understand us. Because, I mean, you don't really know how it is to be a preacher's kid unless you're a preacher's kid, to be honest.
Well.
You can think that you would, oh yeah, I could see how that is and how it feels. You have no idea.
None.
Like, no earthly idea how difficult it is. And, you know, I'm glad I just had a nice base, good family, good, and, you know, people in the church as well that, you know, kind of, you know, help to nurture me, you know, going, you know, through the church. So just
your picture went out, Rob.
Oh, sorry with that.
We can still hear you, just can't see you.
Just realize somebody's trying to call me. Just realize that, you know, we have it, you know, it's kind of different for us, especially as a child. Like Vicky said, like, you know, we didn't ask for this. You know, we were raised. Yeah, we didn't have a choice to be in this. You know, just kind of, like I said, just have that understanding and patience and that love.
Quan, I know you said you gotta get ready to go, but I just want you to speak on, like, speak from the heart. Like, say to us something that you haven't
going
said.
to the swimming pool.
Say to us, Quan, something that you haven't said, you know, concerning, you know, how you feel like your position is with the church. Do you feel like we put pressure on you? Like, do you feel like it's hard being a preacher
He's
kid?
incriminating you right now.
No, I'm not.
Right.
No,
Because you said
Nah.
don't answer this question to us. Yeah. Don't answer this question to us. What would you tell people in the congregation how to treat preachers' children?
Or what would you tell another pair of preachers to tell them how they should treat their child?
I would just say, you can't have too much pressure on them to be perfect. You know, everybody not perfect. You know, I understand, like, you gotta be patient, like they said, you gotta be patient with us. We're human at the end of the day, you know. You tell us like everything that we should do and just expect that of us, but you know, sometimes we're always not gonna come through. But you know, we're always gonna try to be our best self. So, you know, you just can't like pressure us and give us time, you know. Understand where we coming from, what we dealing with.
Oh, can I say something? I forgot. Now this is gonna come off petty, but every preacher child is not going to be a preacher. Can y'all stop trying to force that?
Facts on facts on facts on facts.
They be like, I see your father's oil. Mother's oil. Baby,
I don't know what kind of glasses you got.
You see, she put on my forehead from yesterday morning. Like, yo, stop trying to force us in the footsteps of our parents. Like, we love our parents.
Yeah.
And even if we were called to be preachers and ministers and walk in their shoes, y'all make us not want to because y'all force us. Don't force the calling. Let us walk in the knowledge and begin to really know God, because we're distracted. Being a pre-K, you are constantly distracted with church because you got to cover your parent. Because we see those that are not in their best interest at heart, but because we're the children, we really can't say much. We gotta cover our parent, and we still gotta make sure behind the scenes when the memberships that are in position don't stand in position, we have to cover for you. We hate it here.
Quan, how you feel about that? What she just said? You know what she talking about, right?
Where you gotta be the janitor, the deacon, the musician.
Yeah, you know, I felt it. I just do whatever I gotta do, you know.
Show your whole face, baby.
He got that sinner smirk going.
Cause he at the pool.
Nah.
So like,
I can't really hear y'all.
How do you feel about having to fill in, like Vicky just said, when other people don't show up and the people don't fill in what they supposed to do, and then it's looked upon you to have to do it? Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like that's just being a good son. That ain't got nothing to do with like God at first. Cause like, say people like they basically, I said they flexed on us. You know, they said they were gonna come, but they didn't come. You know, and it mean a lot to your parents because they are the preacher. You know, they can't do everything by themselves. So you know, that's just like me loving my parents so much that I'll do anything for them type. So yeah.
We was taught to do everything. Ain't that right? We could do everything.
Everything.
I'm the church deacon, organist, drummer, and the usher.
Right. Exactly.
That's why I became the bass player.
Definitely. We always want to make sure that our parents are straight and that they're taken care of. But
absolutely.
Then, you know, ministry, we feel like, you know, when y'all make that commitment to our membership, stop making promises to our parents and breaking our parents' heart.
Please stop. Please.
Because when you break our parents' heart, we don't like you no more. Like,
exactly.
Our parents cry, we don't know. This is honest truth. And look,
I know it is, and we want you to be honest.
Like, you know, we have watched people come and people go. People come and people go. And I think what bothers us more is to watch people prostitute our parents. When I say prostitute, it's like you use them for their prayers, you use them for to get to know people, you use them for their money, you get clout, you know, and then
Wait, what you say, Rob?
Money.
Say it for the people in the back.
yeah, like I absolutely hate the fact that like, and it be other preachers, man, and sometimes it don't even be membership. It be other preachers that prostitute our parents. And I can honestly say, because when I got older, like, yes, I've always been a singer, but for me, more so, I stopped really going to church like that is because I, as a pastor's kids, we see and we know too much.
Yeah.
And as soon as we see a red flag, we run at the side of that red flag because one, we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to have to repeat the cycle that we see in our parents still. We get older, so we kind of shy away from it. But the thing that hurt us the most, and things that even though we may heal from other things, we never, just like a parent never forgets watching their children cry from a broken heart, we never forget those who gave our parents those broken hearts. We don't forget those who hurt our parents. And I don't care if they dead and going. You say hi to me, who you talking to? You owe my mom some money. She has a generation after running that money. Like my father, like, and for me, it's like, and I say that for all pastors' kids, don't hurt our parents. Because when we find out, we're not gonna like you no more. Even if they forgive you. Remember, they were called. We're the chosen Peters.
Eva Goodwin said, PKs tend to become the punching bags and the weight and the pressure of the church.
Yes, that's true.
Because the mom and dad got to bring all of that stuff home.
Yep.
And
you got to do it with it.
And Rob, I don't know how you used to respond, but I know I used to get teed off when there was people that we know talked about Bishop or did stuff bad to Bishop and didn't want to come to church and smile in his face. And I remember plenty of times he would be like, Stacy, be quiet, go sit down. Evelyn, go put her in the office, because I'll be ready, like, let's fight them. Let's punch them in the face. And he just be loving up on them. And it wasn't until I got mature in God, because I was grown. It wasn't until I got mature in God that God had to take that punch him in the face spirit away from me. But it used to really, really bother me. Like, how can you talk to them? Don't let them in,
It did, but I think how he was rubbed off on me. I don't know if he just prayed like real hard for me to have that type of attitude, but I never did let it bother me. I tried to really separate it because I know if I really let it affect me, then I would have
like nobody.
Yep. Right. And
I don't know about you, but
wait, let him finish. Go ahead, you can finish.
No, I was just about to say, it's just the nature of the beast. Like, it's just things that, like I said, I feel like if my dad has to deal with that, then, who am I to not, to not deal with that? So I think from an early age, I just built like a just hard exterior to try to just separate and not, and try to have his philosophy in how he felt about people that did, things to him. He just would always just, I would see him, and I don't know what he did behind closed doors, but, he would show me the example of just trying to be the bigger person, this and that. So I kind of learned lessons from that and just tried to look at it that way. And I think I did that more from a defensive mechanism because if, like I said, if I didn't, I probably would have punched somebody in the face or something, or like cussed them out, or, what's that going to do? Like nothing, just make them look bad. So yeah.
Because you look like your dad, so they might think the bishop did it. It was the bishop. I was riding past the church and the bishop pushed a member in the face.
Hey, Rob, but I understand, because it was definitely times where, like Bishop didn't deal with stuff, but me and a few others went and dealt with it. Then he come back to us later, like, I ain't tell you to do that. Like, you ain't had to tell me to do that. Like, I'm not cool with disrespect. Like, I'm really not. Listen, if you don't let me disrespect you, then how somebody else gonna go and do it? You know what I mean? And like, it was one time where I know I was definitely not wrong. And he put me on blast in front of the whole church. So then he came back to me later And he was like, you know, you mad at me? And I'm just like, no, I ain't mad at you. He's like, go ahead and tell the truth. And I was just like, no, I said, just ain't cool.
Man.
I said, because, you know, such and such, I seen other people go back at you. You ain't really chopped them down. But as soon as I say something, you like trying to take my head off. Like,
Yeah, you on my butt. Dang.
You know what it is, though? You know what it is, Harry? Without you even knowing, he's teaching you how to be a pastor, because
and he was.
when that happened to you, you know, you can't do that.
And you know what he used to say? He used to say, I'm harder on my family. So I showed the rest of the church that if I'm gonna do this to my family, y'all know y'all ain't got no strength.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm gonna come at my sons and my daughter, you know what I mean, my wife, my grandkids, and you know, I'm gonna check them. Like then the rest of y'all, you know, ain't no love lost. You know what I mean? And you know, and I understand that, but that's not the route I'm going. You know what I mean? Because I know how my kids is. You know what I mean? And I don't want my kids will shut down. And then now I gotta take 2 months to build them back up. You know what I mean? Like I think the only one that's closest to me is Kevin. You know what I mean? But that's a little hair. You know what I mean? But the rest of them, I gotta like
will them back in.
Will them back, especially that girl of mine, boy. Her feelings is like toilet paper. It break easy. It break real easy.
But yeah, man.
So do you guys have any closing words? I appreciate you all so much for coming on.
And I appreciate your honesty.
Yes, your honesty. Steph, your mom was on. She was like, this is good. Vicky, Alexis is all over the screen. Her and April. And if you guys get a chance, y'all can go back and see all the comments. Like, this has been an amazing conversation. And I believe that it's going to help somebody. It's going to help some members to know how to treat people, the preacher's kids. It's going to help some preacher's kids to feel like they're not the only ones. Right. You know, they're not crazy if they're not perfect.
In your final words, I want y'all to tell the preachers that might watch this just how the kids feel in your final words. So maybe some pastor, some bishop, overseer, you know, pastor, prelate, you know, whatever they call themselves, will be able to say, man, is that how my child feel? You know, in your closing words.
Can I start? Because I wanted to, when you said that, it really just reminded me, I would say with preachers, you guys, like if you're, you know, a pastor or whatever you are, your children see what you're going through. Your children understand, but don't put the church over them more than you would put them over the church, if you see what I'm saying. Because your children will want time with you as well. And I'm gonna say this one example. There was one time I don't know if my father had to go see somebody, but it was just like we had something going on, but he put this member over us, and it made us feel like, wow, okay, do you not love us? Do you not care about us? So it's like, preachers, don't put don't put the church more over your children, because then they're going to start feeling like they aren't confident, or they're going to feel like you don't love them. Make sure they understand that, okay, they see that you are in ministry. They understand that, you know, you're a pastor, you're a bishop, whatever your title is or your calling is, they see that. But make sure that you have them in that equation as well. They don't leave them out.
That's profound, Steph. That's profound.
Oh, that's very true.
Porter said it has to be a balance between family and the church.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I definitely agree with you, Steph. That was the biggest thing with me. I think the biggest that I learned from, you know, in the church. And, you know, growing up and getting older, I try to really reconcile with everything and think about everything. And it's just like one of those things where you just realize, okay, because I really do think it's true that God won't put more on you than you can bear. And I think me growing up, I was scarred, from the church and things of that nature, but it didn't scar me in a way where it changed who I was. It didn't change my love for God. It didn't change, different things. And I was strong enough to deal with it. And I know, as when I got older, he just apologized a million times, but I think, preachers just try to proactively think about, what your kids are going through, what your kids are dealing with, what they have to endure from you being a pastor in the church, and not wait until years later, because you are going to spend time to apologize, because you're going to realize what's going on. So just proactively, like Steph said, try to have a balance, because we're human, and it's it's only a matter of amount of time, or so many times, that we can feel like we're being slighted, or you're dealing with these members or taking care of these members who probably don't even care nothing about you over me, who love you, So it's a lot that we deal with. So just try to just think about that. Talk to your kids, ask them how they're feeling about, with how you feel as a preacher's kid. How do you feel about, what I'm doing? Am I spending enough time with you? Like, just have conversations. And I think doing that will give some type of, sense, like, okay, he does care, how this person does care, how I feel. So just kind of communicate more, I would say.
Listen, you just gave me or us a topic for another show, because I'm feeling all warm and tingly in the inside now. Like, how many other pastors and preachers that are watching this or going to watch this and never even consider their children,
Don't think,
and like you, right. And like you said,
about the big picture. You're thinking about, ministry, how can I help this? Where can I go with this? That, and then go. Yeah, it's ministry, go. And you never take the time to say, like, man, how are my kids feeling right now?
So that's definitely, I think, a topic for another show, to have some pastors with adult children, or at least teenage children, that will be able to articulate, so that the preacher kids like yourself be able to go to their mom or dad and be like, hey, I feel neglected. I feel like there's an imbalance. Because how do you go to the bishop and tell the bishop, I feel like, you ain't, what about
you're not going to do it. For the most part, most kids are not going to say anything. We're just going to deal with it.
They're going to stay silent.
Yeah, and then you just build up, that anger or hurt and bitterness, before you know it, I'm sure with a lot of preachers' kids, then that's when, like you said, Stacey, a long time ago, that they leave the church. They don't want to go to church. They're just jaded because of all, and a lot of it stems from what they dealt with being a preacher's kid.
Yeah. And Eva Goodwin just said PKs are often overlooked by their parents and placed under a microscope by the church, and that's an imbalance. And Victoria, we're gonna allow you to say your part last, and then we're gonna get ready to roll on out.
Yeah, but Victoria, before you start, I just wanted to give a couple more comments. Like Alexis Johnson said, what about me? But when they get older, that make them want to walk away. Eva said, we're blessed in silence. April said ministry starts at home and then spreads abroad. I think that was Mother Arlene Williams from Newburgh, said God, family, and church. And I think that's what a lot of pastors, I know that's how we're raising our family, and that's what we're preaching and teaching. Family, God, family, and church. And a lot of people say God, family, and work. And church is work. Church is not God. God is first.
And a lot of times back in the day, it was God, church, and family. That's what a lot of the African American churches taught. Like this God, and we gotta take care of the church. And that's why a lot of families got messed up over the years, because the church, the family was spending more time in church as opposed to family spending time with each other. So
I think that's where, I think that's where that whole preacher kids are the worst came from, because back in the day, the pastors and the preachers spent so much time at church, the kids was at home getting in everything, or even in the church getting in everything, because the parents didn't have time to watch because they were so busy taking care of the church and not taking care of their family.
And see, the family knew how to church, but the family didn't know how to family.
Oh, that's good.
Hey,
That's
That's
know how to church.
worthy. Come on here.
Yes, know how to church, but don't know how to family. That's good.
Yeah,
But
it
that's
is
how
what
couples, when they hook up in church, I know you as the church boy, but we don't know each other outside of church.
Yeah.
So now when we go home, we don't know what to do but talk about church.
Yeah. They don't do nothing else. They don't go out, they don't go nowhere. You're going to hell if you watch the movies. You know what I mean?
Our church closed, let's go to somebody else's service.
Yeah, it's not like let's go out as a family, let's go to the zoo, let's go to somewhere, but that was a traditional thing of the church of the past. And I'm glad that this current season, this current generation is trying to do more, because the church can't grow if the family dies.
Amen.
That's right.
It's real rap.
Right.
Real rap.
Vicky?
Yes, give us your pearls of wisdom, Vicky. Come on.
I'll say this. If I could look my mother in the face and say to her, the cross you chose is the cross that I bear. And a lot of pastors, before you were a pastor, you were my parent. And even if you chose the pastor before I was born, I was still a child that you chose to bring into this earth. You may carry me for the rest of my life, but I carry your burdens for as long as you have ministry. Remember that we pray for you when you don't know how, when you're praying for everybody else and you don't know how to pray for yourself. Because parents, more so, we hear our parents pray a general prayer to cover them, and they intercede for everybody else. We intercede for our parents when our parents don't know. We hurt when you don't hurt. The cross that you chose to bear openly and carry to be nailed to, because when you decide to take that walk, you are already nailed to the cross. And as you go through life, you go through ministry, you meet people, people leave. We're still there. And just like the ones who reached out to want to help Jesus carry the cross, we are those who actually carry the cross with you. We're overlooked, but we're always going to be there. Remember the value in family, because when everybody walks away and when you're home and people forget to pray and mention your name and they just pray for you, not intercede for you, we're always there. That's all.
Amen.
That's
We really thank you guys for coming in and being honest, and being transparent is the word I was trying to add. And just opening up your hearts, and being honest, because not only was this an opportunity for us to get things out, of what we had to endure and deal with, all coming from families full of preachers, but being able to tell those that are of our age groups, different age groups, of what is necessary, what your child needs, for the ones that are young parents and are going to be pastors one day in the future, that you'll know what you need to give your kids or not, you know.
And I think, like Rob said, not just limited to the preachers, to the people that go to church.
Yep.
Not just the pastor.
Just the regular church kids.
Church kids. Right?
Yep.
So this ain't just about the PKs, but it's about the CKs too. So
this evening live discussion podcast was brought to you by Stacy Sweet Scents, handmade scented candles. www.stacysweetscents.com.
multiple flavors. We will deliver in the city and out.
Yes. It will change the atmosphere.
And we pray that everyone that watched during this live and everyone that will watch later, either on Facebook or YouTube, that this will be a blessing to you. If you enjoyed it, if you liked it, please go to newhopeftc.org, leave a comment, go to New Hope FTC on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, subscribe.
Subscribe to our page and be a fan. If you're not subscribed, go and subscribe, you know, and like our page and look at all our discussions, all our messages, all our services, and we pray that you will hear something that'll be a blessing to your life.
Great job what you guys are doing. Thank y'all for having these pods and having different discussions. We appreciate
it.
Thank you, family. We love you.
Trying to make it
All right,
different.
love y'all.
Trying to make it different.
Love you too.
Y'all be blessed. Have a good night.
All right, have a good one.
There is always hope.
And New Hope. God bless.
Goodbye.